Monotheism. What is it? In this video, I'm going to discuss what monotheism is, and I'll do that by comparing and contrasting with other very similar religious views. Okay, let's do this idea about God. Does God exist? Well, one thing we can do, and it would take a very long time, is think about what this even means. And lots of people have discussed what God is, capital G, lowercase g, he, she, they, one, many. There's so many different things we could get into when we're just thinking about that concept. And how could you ask whether God exists unless you know exactly what it is you're referring to exactly? But what I want to do is just take this concept of God and treat it like we all know what we're talking about. Something beyond this world, above this world, something supernatural, not limited by science, something that is responsible for the order in the world. And I want to ask this question, does God exist, so that we can look at different basic answers. Take this question as if you already know what we mean by God. The people who say yes are often referred to as theists. But there's also people who are called deists, and those people also say yes. There's someone who says no, there's no such thing as God, and those people are called atheists. And then there's also a third category of people who say something like, I'm not sure, maybe, and those people are called agnostic. And in this video, we're going to focus on monotheism. So monotheism is a kind of theism. Let's ignore the atheists who say there's no such thing as God. And let's ignore the agnostics who say maybe there is such a thing as God. And what I want to do is focus on this category of answer. The question is, does God exist? This category of answer are the folks who say yes, yes, God exists. Of course, there's a lot of debate that we can get into about what that means when you're affirming that God exists. Take these two categories, the theists and the deists. Both of those groups believe that there is a God. Monotheism is a sort of theism. Let's write that word down, monotheism. There's another group called the polytheists, polytheism. And these are the two that I want to focus on so that we can better understand what monotheism is. Why is monotheism and polytheism under theism but not under deism? And that's because deism is something very different. Okay, let's return to the question and then see the differences here, just so that we can understand this. This is our main target. Does God exist? Yes, say the theists, and yes, say the deists. The deists believe that God does exist, that God created everything in the world and then just walked away and is not participating in this world that he created. So God's not listening to your prayers, God is not performing miracles, God doesn't care what happens to his creation. Monotheists are not deists. Let's get rid of deism just like we got rid of atheism and agnosticism. Monotheism and polytheism are both isms, systems of belief about God. They're both theistic. And since I wrote polytheism and monotheism, I'll also have this in blue so it matches. Theism. Now let's return to our main question. Does God exist? If the answer is yes, you are a theist. You believe in God. You might also be a deist. And if you are a theist, then you might be a monotheist if you believe mono, meaning one, that there is only one God who created the world and everything in it and is responsible for the order in the universe. Contrasting with monotheism is polytheism. Poly usually means more than one. Here I'll just write the word many, which is also synonymous with poly. If you are a polytheist, then you believe that there is a God and that there's more than one God. Notice that theism is this ending of monotheism, and theism is this ending of polytheism, and that's because monotheism and polytheisms are both theisms. Both of them are examples of people who believe in God. The difference here is that a polytheist believes in more than one God, whereas a monotheist only believes in one God. Let's have some examples of monotheistic religions and polytheistic religions. Examples of monotheistic religions include Zoroastrianism, Judaism, Christianity, and Islam. Examples of polytheistic religions include the Greek mythology, the Norse mythology from the Nordic people, and Hinduism. So here's our main question of this video. What is monotheism? It's the view that God does exist, there is such a thing as God, but that more so, there is only one such thing that can be called a God. And that's what monotheism is, the view that there is a God and only one God.